Welcome everyone to another RGL cast. My name is Jared. I'm here with Space Ghost to bring you guys RGL Invite 6's Season 13, Froyotech versus the Darkest Knights. This is a beginning of the season. It was a little bit delayed because of the LAN, but we're finally getting into the first handful of matches. And boy, this one is definitely going to be a good one. I think these teams are going to be pretty close, and a couple players, probably more than just a couple, coming back from their their LAN happenings, going back to the comfort of their own setup and straight back into the matches. So Space, we had a little bit of a break last season, finally getting into some good content, some good matches, and I can't wait to see how this season shakes out, starting with two very high-level teams.
Indeed, we do have two very high-level teams going on right now. It's Froyotech versus the Darkest Knights, and I gotta say I'm pretty excited for this matchup too. Anyone who's coming fresh off of watching the most recent LAN down there around the Philly area, saw some exciting action where G6 did end up coming on top in the end over Froyotech, but Froyotech back in ready for more this season, but not quite taking on G6 just yet. They are taking on the Darkest Knights, which I believe some of these players were at LAN.
Yep, at least a handful, but it's important to probably go over the rosters, especially one, because people probably don't recognize the name of the Darkest Knights yet, and two, Froyotech, there's some stories with this roster and how it came to be, at least a little bit. But why don't you go ahead and pick a roster and run it down?
Ooh. I'll pick the Froyotech roster. That's the exciting one, and I'll do Darkest Knights because Froyotech needs some discussion.
Okay.
So for the Darkest Knights, we got Zam and Gungan on Scout, Kev and Psy on Soldier, Dingo and Demoman, and Speedy on Medic.
Yep, very similar to the Covenant roster that played last season with two substitutes in through the off season. But the Froyotech roster. So tonight, the Froyotech roster is Habib and Logan on Scout, Meerman and Donovan on Soldier, Banny on Demo, and Jimmy, aka Rocket, on Medic. But this isn't their starting roster. High Five is supposed to be playing, and he's not here tonight, so Rocket is a substitute. The classes that they're playing seems to be not concrete at all. They play with a completely different lineup for the most part. Yesterday in their match versus Global Clan Fire, and I still don't think that very much of who is playing what is necessarily concrete. There might be some more off-classing happening, who knows, or maybe some main classing once High Five returns, but they're going to slowly figure that out throughout the season and, eventually come to a conclusion on what they want to play come playoffs. But they got some time to figure it out, but what they don't have time for is to, figure something out for this upcoming match because, got people flying on the server, got to pick something, got to figure out who's playing what when you have a substitute that who knows how long will be appearing or reappearing or anything like that. So, I think, this is looking like a pretty good matchup. A lot of the times you see the name Froyotech and you think like, oh, okay, versus a lot of these teams, it's just going to be like a Giga roll. But with a shakeup like this, and I think this could be a pretty competitive match.
I think this definitely could be competitive, and I'm almost tempted to say with all the roster turmoil on Froyotech, you might even want to consider the Darkest Knights be, if not the favorite, at least equal in terms of just, there's no, all the players on Froyotech are crazy, but they're just on sometimes little unusual classes. Normally you wouldn't expect to see Habib on Scout, but anyone who's played, high-level pugs can tell you Habib on Scout is still to be feared. Pretty terrifying. I think Banny on Demo, usually you'd expect to see if those two players on Froyo, they'd have the opposite classes, but that's not where we are today. Banny on Demo, Habib on Scout. Logan, another Demo player, also on Scout, so we got the double Demo main on Scout, which is honestly pretty good. If you steal all the good Demo mans, then no other teams will have good Demo. But
true, it's the strat.
Unfortunately for Froyotech, the Darkest Knights do have Dingo, who is another excellent, amazing Demo man, so it doesn't work out in this case.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious how this matchup's going to go down. I think there are some swaps around in terms of what you would normally see, I guess kind of on both sides. Because you look at the side of Froyotech, obviously, Donovan doesn't play pocket too much. Logan's Highlander Scout is making its debut in sixes. Banny, he was spawned Demo before, but, his Scout has definitely been a powerhouse for the past however many years. And the side of the Darkest Knights, you can kind of say the same thing, where, Kev, he played with the Covenant last season, but it was on pocket. And Speedy, I don't think he's actually had a season of Medic yet, if I remember correctly. Obviously, he's played Medic before in, I think ringing and stuff, but not for a whole dedicated season. Definitely way more of a
Speedy
Soldier
Medic
player.
From somewhere?
From somewhere, yeah.
That might be Highlander, though. I don't know if that counts.
Maybe?
He definitely knows. He's played long enough that I'm sure he's, he knows what he's doing on Medic. I'm not worried. Speedy's been around for so long that, you just develop Medic through osmosis at that point.
Yeah, one thing that is pretty straightforward though is the pick bans. You know, one side getting rid of all the scout prison maps, the other side getting rid of all the Koth, and then the newest map added to the pool, leading us to Sunshine.
I think it is a little interesting how the Darkest Nights is getting rid of Koth, but I guess it makes sense, especially with like the weird. I don't know if they anticipated this when they did the bans, but considering the weird Freyr roster, regardless of what you say about the weird classes, that is a very DM heavy team on all 5 to even 6 fronts. So I wouldn't blame them for maybe getting Koth out of the way, saying like, oh, let's play 5 CP, slow the game down. We don't want to have to deal with Habib and Logan on Scout. That's a little scary.
So when it comes to the scores, we're reaching the point where the game's gonna go live soon. Any final thoughts on what you think the final tally is gonna be?
I actually think I'm gonna go on a limb. I don't know if my heart believes this, or I don't know if my brain believes this, but my heart wants to see a nice little upset. Maybe I'll say nice like 5-3 for the Darkest Nights.
I actually think I'm thinking of a similar line of thinking, but I don't think we're going to 5 here.
Ooh.
I think everything's too unrefined in the beginning of the season. I think between two like pretty skilled teams for it to go all the way to 5. I feel like we're gonna see something more like a 3-2 Darkest Nights.
I could see that. I could also see it being sloppy in the sense that everyone just dies all the time, so you just end up with a lot of like Mickey last pushes.
That's fair. But we are going live, so we're gonna, not have to wait too much longer to see how things are finally gonna shake out. Starting with the first mid here tonight, RGL6's Season 13 Froyotech versus the Darkest Nights.
Indeed, we do have Froyotech versus the Darkest Nights, and both teams are gonna roll out, take their times, arriving on Sunshine mid. Both demos are gonna actually roll out, and Bandy's gonna be a little healthier taking the Valley rollout, but Mirror Man immediately taking a ton of damage as Red Team is, however, kind of in the corner, just backing up, biding their time as Froyotech is just sitting in Valley, eating dingo damage.
They're pretty passive. I think they were trying to bait out, but now they're actually going for aggression. Some damage on the Speedy, surfing over the way into Cafe.
Bandy's dead.
Trade a couple players. Bandy is dead. Froyotech losing a lot of players. They collected both scouts for the side of the Darkest Nights, and Habib is behind, but he's so low. He's 10 HP. Getting chased a little bit by Cyber will not actually commit for the kill, and I mean, it seems Froyotech were pretty certain that there was going to be some sort of initial aggression coming from the side of the Darkest Nights. They were playing pretty passive, getting ready to try to farm any soldiers that came their way, but they changed the plan, had to go aggressive themselves, and they put all their eggs in one basket, putting all that damage into Speedy, but were unable to clean up.
Kev had a very good fake bomb, which I think dragged a lot of failures back, but meanwhile, Habib is doing his best to buy time, and he's being a little bit slippery right now, as Froyotech is actually trying to, refight mid here. Both teams over red, but Kev is going to fall. That's going to signal so Habib
nice shot
the whole time. And going to be able to get out and live. Huge there from Habib as Cozy, or not Cozy, the Darkest Nights find themselves on a bit of the back foot here unexpectedly.
And a nice shot from Donovan over on the Valley side makes it, instead of a 6v5, it's 6v4, and that's not enough players left in the tank for the side of the red team to consider even using the Uber and trying to hold it. So
there's our first off class.
Donovan in, Speedy surfing, watch the ceiling, mind the other door, dropped to 33 HP, but is A-okay, but on the cap, Habib trying to get some cap time, will get melted out, and overall just a 2-man. You almost saw the spy play come out from Kev.
He got spotted, though.
Yeah, he got spotted, immediately swapped out, but normal 2-man, we'll see how they respond. Side jumping in, trying to make some space, jumping over to the platform, but no, they are committing with the beam. Even Gungan going over to Mirman over on the Valley side, committing for the kill. Knows he's gonna die either way, so tries to get some damage off, is unsuccessful. The platform getting held down by the side of the blue team, but a lot of spam coming from the side of Nigo, being unhealed, just forcing them all the way back. Uber change going out over the side of Cafe. You're gonna respond in kind, flashing a couple players. Bandy getting out of it, but overall trade 1-for-1 in the middle of the exchange, and a scout behind. Logan bringing people back, just a distraction to bring them back into the lobby.
That is a kill in Warcraft,
going for the kill. Trying to find a way. Gonna be able to drop, and it seems like blue team, I mean, they had to flash a lot of players. They chased and got only a trade in terms of player lives, and overall really good play from this side of the Darkest Nights to go for that Valley pressure, get Mirror Man out of the way, and have a really nice exchange to take back too.
It was a soldier exchange, a soldier scat exchange as well, which ended up in the Darkest Nights' favor, and from there going behind, it was a nice play, but it ended up not working, and just they didn't have like the back cap threat in order to really keep red scared. And I don't think that the Darkest Nights, I think they played it quite well in that they got the initial back cap threat, and then they just never worried about it again. Whereas, if you try to push out there and don't pull all your eggs in that basket, it could have ended up much different. But we're gonna try to put a little aggression on the board with the slight red, but not enough, is they're gonna send a lot of players Cafe, trying to make some space or get anything happening. Benny putting a nice little carpet down, but just slow play. Nothing too exciting happening right now as the blue team's posturing for a sec, but the keyword is posturing.
Yeah, they're poking around a little bit, seeing if they can get either a player to come forward and maybe die, or get Speedy in a easier position to actually sack on. But they're not finding too much luck. I mean, they're getting him kind of far back. Khabib's kind of committing. Mirror Man going in for a jump, not quite landing where he wants to, though. On to Speedy, gets a little bit of damage, 50 damage, but not quite enough. Jimmy, he's all the way in. Zam's trying to go forward, and Logan's going to die, scattered down by a
nice
Zam,
pipe from
and
Dingo.
damage from Dingo as well. And Donovan, he gets the kill on the Kev. He tried to go for a counter sack. 3 HP, but will get pistol down. Yep, Zam going for that kill, and
it's
overall,
a
3 dead.
Yeah, 3 versus 1, you take those. They're going to just flood in. Froyotech looks like they're getting caught. They kind of either didn't expect this or they weren't prepared for it, because now they're in the kind of the sad corner going for the exchange. Maybe they're trying to buy time for the spawners to come, but Zygeist is going to take the fight in Cafe and is going to lose, so that is a nice flank fight for the side of Froyotech, and they're going to keep fighting, actually.
Yeah, they're trying to buy time for the respawners. They know if they can just bait out long enough, the reinforcements will swarm in, and the red team, they don't really have enough. They lost a couple people and didn't have their full 6 available to actually fight that post to mid, and are going to be down 2 at the end of the day. So overall, the way that Froyo took that fight, I mean, it was a bit aggressive. I would like to see the Darkest Knights maybe bait out the Uber a little bit more in like a 5v3 scenario, but Froyotech just a little bit too slippery, able to get off a good exchange, buy enough time, and find themselves in a position where, I mean, it's not ad to work with necessarily, but it's always nice to just be on the opposing team's last.
It is always nice, you know, you get that, you know, kind of familiar feeling, whereas if you're on your own last, you're just a little anxious. It's a little stressful being on your last, because, you know, one mistake, it could be the round, as you have Zam up on the sniper, that our first actual off class of the game after we had a little brief Kev spy sighting, but for now, and they're sneaking the sniper, and they can actually... Kev lives? Okay, so Froyotech immediately sacks 2 before they even really get through the doorways, so...
And Logan didn't even go in. He got gone on by a double soldier bomb in Valley, or in lobby. So wasn't even able to get in and get anywhere near Speedy, but they're just walking straight in. Finally, on Habib. He's really low. He is. The sticky. They're able to get him. So another scout down, and they're trying to stranglehold Froyotech back into this corner. Froyo got to do something.
Massive from Kev. He's doing so much work
either
right
in
now.
or out, and they've decided at the very end, getting away on a Dingo actually is going to be able to drop a Mirrorman dying on the flank side.
Donovan.
Blue Uber. He's retreat. Some flashes. Oh, Donovan Spy. He's going for the cap though. He's
they're not
capping 1-to-1 Dingo.
Oh, they have no idea. But what is?
He's gonna get it.
Not gonna be up in time. Yeah, they took so long to cap. And that's a huge play there from Donovan. He actually thought about going for, you know, just going for the play and getting for the backstab. Then he's like, wait, they're just not capping the point.
A little bit too slow. I mean, I think the aggression for the Darkest Knights was good, but you're right, a little bit too slow. And Froyotech, they've been playing a little bit more passive and dormant, but this time, you know, it definitely pays off, and it pays off where it matters. A round win. So 1-0 in favor of Froyotech as we head off to the second mid.
Definitely a little sloppy though. You know, a round win is a round win, but it wasn't like the normal dominant Froyo round wins you're expecting to see. But going into the next mid, we're going to have a bit of damage onto Mirrorman, going to back up, get the pack. As you do see an aggressive bomb in from Donovan. He's going to get in, and Speedy is going to die, and both soldiers in Cafe, they both do get shot by Zam, but blue team now has no heals, has the heal advantage, and the Darkest Knights are all kind of scattered around the map.
The Zam flank, though, he's drawing some eyes. They have to split themselves, but no one's going in quite yet off of Zam's initiation. It's finally coming in, but it's a little too late, maybe. One rocket on the Jimmy, not going to be enough. 65 HP combined for the rest of the alive red team, and they're going to have to scatter off as Logan. He's actually on the chase. He wants to scout kill, collect one now. Going to MG the Doman of Dingo, jumping away, knows he has to get out the best he can. Kev trying to apply at least a little bit of pressure, but will end up giving away his life to make sure his Doman does indeed live. So Froyotech, they did a pretty good job of making sure that, you know, as soon as they get anywhere near the cafe area, one soldier pops out of it, another one bombs it, and Speedy had nowhere to go. He's just dead. They play in the corner, they bait a little bit, keep Jimmy alive, and they have full Uber out getting ready for another last push.
They do, but they're just getting mid. Cozy has time to, you know, build, get set up, you know, get a nice Putin's last net, etc. going. As, you know, Froyotech were very aggressive, but the combo was, you know, just a couple steps ahead of the actual, you know, game situation in terms of, I like the aggression, and they do get the gun, so they are, you know, not squandering this time for nothing, but Speedy already on 70% Uber, and that means that this is going to be tighter than Froyotech might want.
And they're milking their way in. Both scouts have entered and trying to buy some space, but they haven't actually walked into their Uber yet. Do they think they have to wait so long to actually get that capped that their Uber is pretty much gone? They've lost one, gotten a lot of damage. Kev will indeed die to fall damage, overall 1-for-1 trade, but yeah, it appears that they thought that their ad had dwindled too much and didn't want to take the risk. Habib gonna go ahead and die over on the opposing side where they're peeking from.
And they get Donovan too.
Tried to get Sai as a trade, but they get Donovan as well. Yeah, you wanted to trade out Habib, but was unsuccessful. So overall, mean, it's not too bad. It's just a 2-man. That's pretty typical. It wasn't anywhere near speedy, but opportunity for the red team to push out, and Gungan, he's on the chase. Finding Meerman once again, getting to stand backwards, but how will things progress from here? Froyotech gonna give him more aggressive.
Gungan gets nuked.
Yeah,
but they already used the Uber.
Oh,
Jimmy is going to milk it, but can they get out? Dingo, no. Dingo cannot get out. This might be a disaster for the Darkest Knights. As unless some sort of miracle happens, this is going to be the round. There's no demo to stop. Zam does get Habib, and there are going to be some bombs coming in, but there's just too many blue players to shoot.
Yeah, last second misplace from the Darkest Knights. Had the scout die, still Ubered, and then Medic and Demo left opposite directions. That's going to be a disaster. And a really good from the side of Froyotech to capitalize on the shortcomings of the Darkest Knights to lead them to 2-0 right now. Pretty good lead considering 10 minutes in, so we'll see how the rest of the rounds progress. But as we all know, mids can change, and we'll see how things progress even further as we begin the third mid of the game.
One thing we have noticed is that is 2 rounds off of sloppy execution on pushing out a last from the Darkest Knights. At some point, maybe they just might want to turtle up on there and reset the round.
And you could go for the round reset. I know G6 had talked
it's
about
only,
it a lot.
what is it, 4 minutes at this point?
It's just the better thing to do. It's been 10 minutes, but some damage from both sides. On the explosive classes in particular, Speed has to go back for a pack, so Red Team's not really being healed, and Zam, he's out on no man's land, is finally going to be able to run away and get the pack with Froyotech. They're down more players, so unable to collect that Zam kill is going to bite them, going to recognize that they've pretty much lost the mid, have to back up, and I mean, it started good from Froyotech. The fact that they put so much damage on Speedy and got him out of the fight meant that they should be able to at least get something off of that, but not really going to cut it and find the shots to connect as back to 2 they go. Darkest Knight still on the chase. They're down a person, rolling out. Kev is not quite there, so he's not going to be able to sack, so it's a 5v6 as they dry their way
Airman's behind.
Uber's available for both teams. Donovan bombing in on the way, actually over onto Zam. Will indeed die. Kev able to cut the kill. He's rolling out, so overall 1 player advantage.
Oh, they might get Mirrorman too, but Dingo.
Other side of the map. Dingo separated from the beam. He's still alive. 3v4 right now as the Darkest Knights are bleeding out here. They're getting some frags, but they eventually have to pop, and it's nowhere near Jimmy. They need to get this frag on Habib, and they're actually going to Uber to save him and make sure they're able to just double scout their way in the cafe. Gungan's going to die, Speedy's going to die, and Dingo will surely die as well. As really ambitious from the side of Darkest Knights, but at the end of the day, their ambition will punish them as Froyotech. They hold on for as long as they need to, find the one little opening, and just take a mile off of it to retake mid. And off the denied players they have, unless Kev goes crazy here in forward spawn hiding, they're going to take 2 for free as well.
Yeah, they are going to take 2 for free. Kev is hiding in forwards, being a little sneaky, up to no good in forwards. But the milks from Jimmy have been very good. Like, Uber, he flashed Habib to prevent the kill there. And Danny is going to fall. Gungan going to have a nice trade there.
Oh, he's going for it.
He's going for it. And Habib had no idea. That
he
might
lived
be...
on 3. He
is going to live on 3. That is kind of crazy, but Habib definitely was not aware of that. There might be a little bit of a scout inexperience showing that, like, you know, or maybe just not familiar with how the Kev team likes to play. But that is a very prototypical Kev team play, I would say.
Oh, they're in early. Only 10% more until they finally have Donovan make the space for his team. Uber finally available for the blue team, but they didn't even need it. They're just capping. They have the heavy up, but the heavy can't actually get on the point, so unable to really block that. I guess miscommunication on who was going to be the first one to jump, and Habib just gets on it and caps it all the way through. 3-0 for the side of Froyotech.
I think they're expecting, they pretended like they had Uber, so the other team thought they had Uber, but they did not. And sometimes it's all about the psychology.
Yeah, a little bit of fear there to let them milk even further, but it turns out they didn't even need it. But the Darkest Knights, they're down a lot here, so if they want to shake things up, it's going to have to start with the mid-fights and winning it a bit more dominantly as Kev immediately going in, finding a way onto Fanny, but Fanny just gets the pipe on him. He's out of the fight for at least a little bit, so it's going to be a 5v5 until he's able to come back and rejoin his team, but both soldiers going in onto Zam. Zam able to take at least 1 out of the equation, going back for Donovan, maybe able to get the kill, no, just barely survives, 19 HP, jumping back to his team. Silas, be careful, is a bit far forward, but it's going to be okay for now, as it seems the rest of Froyotech are just content with, rehealing for a sec, resetting, and being content with their mid-win is, mid-win for Froyotech. Darkest Knights gonna have to find their victories elsewhere.
Let's find their victories elsewhere as well, because I feel like the mids have not been going in the favor of the Darkest Knights, and once the Darkest Knights are on their own side of the map, it's been not too good for them. They've had a tough time getting off of it, so we'll have to see how they want to adapt and adjust, but at least they're on second and not on last, which...
Ooh, air shot on the mirror. Kev, hello! He hits the 2!
Oh, that was a clean one as well. Unfortunately does not get the kill, but close enough. Gets the double.
One man.
Yeah, that's definitely a... that is a one-man indeed.
Kev's on the move now. Gets another nice shot on the B, but not quite enough to get another kill there, so that's going to be the counter, but Froyotech, I mean, that was a little It's not too late of a counter. There's going to be an opening. Maybe Habib can run behind or something. Actually, Psy Guys recognizes that and actually goes over just two.
Psy,
Never mind.
okay.
Just 2 rockets in. All right, never mind. Cancel everything. Froyotech. I mean, they're going to poke around at least a little
Danish
bit,
is
maybe.
almost dying
but,
to spam.
Yeah. Actually, Dingo. Dingo's way too far forward. He's all the way over by Cafe. Now they're just walking in, recognizing
They're going to
there's
get
no
Donovan,
stickies.
though, or at least they
Trying to get
should.
this pop.
They may not.
They get the force out. Donovan, flash, jumps away. They're flashing a bit, so this Uber might be a little bit shorter, but, you know, no
does not
demo
have
for
a
the
demo
post.
then.
Yeah, blue team can just walk their way in. They just got to make sure they're all on the same page on the timing of it. As they're getting Habib back. They're all by Cafe, getting healed up side. Tossed around at least a tad. Logan taking the damage too. Gunkin gonna get shot down by the side of Donovan. Is they're, you know, they're eating some sand back and forth.
Oh, nuke from
Kev comes in.
Unable to get more, but the damage that is going to make them clean up Logan, and it's a 2v2, but the red respawners are going to be able to get here faster. Dingo is back in the fight, and he's ready. As red team still trying to claw and hold on to this point, but Psy's going to fall, going to make it a 3v4, and that's going to signal the end for the Darkest Knights for that second hold, as they're going to back up the last, get the gun up, and see if they can, you know, have something happen, but they just cannot find a way into this game.
Yeah, I think the telltale sign of this match so far is even though there might be some like people on roles that they haven't necessarily played the previous season, there's still a combination of you know, playing with certain people and recognizing like whose job is what, who's doing what, even if you are on different classes. And it seems like Froyotech has at least a little bit down better in terms of making sure that you're covering like your teammates properly and everything like that. But they do find Habib, so that's going to be the solo one-man sack. Asai goes adventurous in lobby and is going to die as well. But Sam is getting chased a bit. Soldier committing, but Donovan will get shot out of the sky once again by Kev.
Yeah, Kev is, you know, he may not win the match, at least the way it's going right now, but he's going to get a lot of clip for the frag video, and at the end of the day, that might be all that really matters. But they're going to try to peek out with Zam through the shutter and see if they can have any sort of, you know, play happen. Kev going to go down lower, but just get bullied by Mirror Man, hitting the triple direct.
And Dingo?
That's going to be Dingo just getting ran down by Logan. He had no protection.
Yeah, they were already completely gone outside, like, of lobby, straight into last, so a little bit of a coordination issue on where everyone's standing, but Mirror Man jumping in for his team, trying to create space. Does indeed take down the gun overall with the distraction, but the bomb in, Speedy will pop, Donovan able to get that frag, and the Psy's going for it, and Logan, or actually Habib was on Sniper, a bit weak, walks away. And overall, pretty good job from the side of Froyotech. I mean, Mirror Man had to give up his life for it, but, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Gets the gun down, gets the opening. Bandit getting the kill on a Kev as well is gonna make things even easier if they want to go in right now. Habib, he's not even swapping off Sniper off of the Mirror Man. He could have ran back to spawn, but he's like, no, I'm chill with this. They're actually gonna go through and take the Uber lower.
Sniper's pretty good. I can definitely say that Habib Sniper is definitely one of the scariest classes, to be honest. And Dingo is getting roasted by this Uber. They're gonna get the level 1, and they get 3 kills as the Uber ends. And this is gonna be tough for Red. Again, Psy's gonna fall. It's just Zam on Engineer. He's trying to build up his gun. They get the kill. That's a clean wipe on last and a clean last push for Froyotech. Up 4-0, and this is match point for the Darkest Knights. They gotta get some way back into this game.
They were playing that as if there was a level 3 that was going to be a big distractor for the side of Froyotech that would buy them time to adjust properly. But it was a level 1. They ignored it. They immediately killed the Pyro and then went on to kill the Demo and Medic as well. They were kiting as if they had the room to stand out in the open and not go into spawn. So they really got to shape up these mids, otherwise Froyotech are going to be able to take it home 5-0 in a bit of an off-classing ordeal. So we'll see how the mid progresses. The mids have been kind of back and forth, but so far the victories have been for the most part pretty minor. So we'll see if we're going to have a major one here with a giant Wyvis. Mirror Man committing in, able to get Zam. Second bomb coming in from Donovan, taking out Speedy as well. So Jimmy, Rocket, staying alive, backing out in the valley immediately. Gun goes on the chase, distracting both scouts and under. Still alive for now, but no one else is going in. They don't have the health to go in. Dingo, super far backside, just got a health pack, and they are unable to go off that distraction. Froyotech, they're doing a pretty good job of recognizing, just send in, find a way to kill Speedy, keep Jimmy alive, and we are A-okay. And that worked again. They've got mid. They've pretty much got a second free off the late deaths that they've collected on the opposing team, and this could be the thing that ends it all. One more last push, potentially.
I don't know if you saw, there was a... You know what, never mind. There's a little silly moment, but Froyotech don't care. They're moving on to second, potentially moving on to last. They do have full Uber Rad, and this could be it for the Darkest Knights. You know, we came into this thinking they had a shot, but so far they have had nothing to work with. It's just been a disaster, left, right, and center. Froyotech, they're going to Uber in from Lawyer. Kev is already dead, just getting two-shot by Logan. Logan's just two-shotting everybody. Somebody stop this man. The gun is going to fall in the end, but not before getting Donovan. They do get side.
Who's on top of the gun as well. They're just ignoring the guns and going straight for the players, recognizing the way the Darkest Knights plays is just way too aggressive. And Froyotech, They take it
That's a clean
5-0
sweep.
in
20 minutes.
19 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
19.
something like that. So, you know, Darkest Knights, a team that you look at the roster on paper and you feel like they should be pretty good and put up a pretty tough fight. But I don't know, early in the season, you never know what can happen with teams like, you know, needing to gel and stuff like that. And Froyotech are starting off pretty strong right now, and we'll see how things progress throughout the rest of the season. I'm curious to see what classes they're actually gonna end up on, and that'll be a treat to see as the match goes on. But only a handful of people correctly guessed the 5-0. A lot of people believe that it would be a super close match, but you know, Froyotech got it in the bag.
Yeah, I'm sorry to all the Banny fans and the bandits out there. I should have never doubted Froyotech. My apologies. Clearly Froyotech is just on a different level. Even, you know, with the Habib Scout, Banny demo, you know, all the powerful players, they're all in their, you know, unusual classes, but ends up working out in the end. Like we said in the pregame, even though they're not on their normal classes, they're still very scary.
Rocket almost got a goose egg game.
Ooh, good
almost.
goose egg though.
Yeah. I mean, it's medic, so he got
Perfect
one
game.
death.
Usually when you hear goose egg, you think it's bad.
Oh yeah, but I mean, hey, it's 0. You know, 0 deaths pretty good. But it's gonna be Banny actually leading the charge with the damage out of the entire server, and it's actually gonna be a total sweep in terms of the damage. Where the top 3 are Banny, Logan, and Habib, and then you start to see some of the Darkest Knights players follow in. So you know, it's funny because if you look at the stats, some of the stats don't look too bad. Like you don't see like maybe you see like, oh, Kev, you know, didn't do too hot, but he's playing Rover, so you just kind of ignore it. It's whatever. But I think it was a story of where you got your victories and how dominant they were. When Froyotech, you know, even though, I think, it's like I said, what it pretty much comes down to is when you win, how much do you win by in these fights? Yeah. The Darkest Knights victories were by, like, you know, they had some mid victories that were by thin margins, and they had some pushes that went their way. But when Froyotech won, they took multiple points in a row.
Yeah, if you look at the round timers, almost 6 minutes, 2 minutes, 2:30, like under a minute, like those are like V1 mid, or it was like kind of a wishy-washy mid, and then just pretty much like clinical, then second, then last. Like Froyotech did a very good job making sure that when they did have something bad happen, it wasn't a complete disaster, whereas the Darkest Knights had a lot of complete disasters.
A pretty good indication of one's ability to not only snowball but punish as well. Because I think when it came to like mistakes, like not just like playstyle thing, like you look at it as like, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. You definitely saw way more from the side of the Darkest Knights, which is, it's one thing for that to happen to your team, but it's another thing for an opposing team to be able to recognize that and then immediately capitalize, especially if it's like something that you wouldn't necessarily expect. You just see it and then go for it. So it definitely shows that you know, that even if they're trying to figure out how they're gonna land all these classes at the end of the day, they still, you know, have the knowledge as players to, you know, be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, but overall, very dominant showing from Banny, getting, you know, 50 more DPM than anyone else in the server. So that's you know, Sunshine demo can be, you know, pretty scary sometimes, especially if your team's rolling like that. It can be pretty powerful. Because I didn't even see he was shooting really. I guess he was just shooting everyone with all that damage.
Probably a lot from the last pushes as well. A lot of the times you get those nice last pushes, I mean, the last pushes they got were ones where they would kill like 2 or 3 players immediately. So you probably get a lot of success there and just, you know, find frags all over the place. So it definitely helps make sure you secure it for your team, and it shows in the logs as well.
Yeah, well, I don't know if we're gonna do any interviews off of that. That was kind of a roll.
Probably not a 5-0.
Yeah,
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, probably not. But I guess do we have any merch, any stuff to talk about?
There is merch. You know, got the seasonal merch over at shop.rgl.gg. You know, changes every season, so you can check out what's happening. I think it'll probably stay for a bit. Usually, you don't have to rush too much to be able to cop what you want until the season nears its end. But that means just give plenty of time to figure out what your favorite is, and you can take a peek and see if anything is to your liking.
Indeed. Looking at the actually, I have an ad, so I can't even see the merch. But
unfortunate.
Oh, I can see them top right. Ooh, that Spike Red one, very cute. All right. Oh wait, we got some bangers here. Now I can see them. All right, yeah, we got some stickers. We got some nice T-shirts. Go check them out. Help support RGL and the people who make the T-shirts, I assume. And yeah, good merch. Got anything else, Jarrett?
I don't think so, really. I don't think there's too much else to really go for. Now that LAN is over, all the matches are no longer being postponed and stuff. Everyone's finally home, so we'll start to see some more matches roll in. You can probably expect to see people start to go slow through the backlog over the next week. I would imagine the next week or so is going to be where people try to catch up. Either that or the end of the season, so we'll see. Probably depends on the team. As always, there's a Highlander that always happens on Mondays. I know that season is starting to come underway, so there's definitely going to be some more content rolling in over in that department. But I think for tonight, that was pretty much it for us. I mean, Froyotech they had a match. They had a pregame that was a match on Metalworks. And that was a 5-0 as well. So they're double header, 5-0, 5-0. They're probably sitting pretty tonight, but we'll see what next week brings us and what teams will end up clashing, and we'll slowly see who is going to be the top teams and who is going to be the playoff bubble teams fighting for their life to at least get into the playoffs at 4th seed. So I think we'll just have to wait and see how things go, but I think that's pretty much it for us tonight. Any final shout-outs before we head off?
I mean, shout out to, Back on the Saddle casting. Shout out to new season of RGL. Shout out to LAN. Always nice to see LAN, even though it's over. I'm sure everyone had a lot of fun playing, viewing, and etc.
As always, shout out to everyone for watching and the teams for playing. Slam House for the music, all the staff that helped with the LAN, and all the RGL staff working on the seasons, etc., etc. Excited for season 13. And we'll see how it progresses throughout the couple of weeks that we're going to be seeing. But for tonight, that'll be it for us. I've been Jarrett, casting the Space Ghost with Dolphin on production. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.